Welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Vevor dual burner propane forge kit. And I will start this out by saying Vevor did send this to me for the purpose of doing a couple videos. As always, thoughts and opinions are my own. But let's take a look at this thing. It's about 15.5 inches to 16 inches long, 8.5 inches wide at its widest point, 7.5 inches tall. You are going to lose a little bit of that volume due to the thickness of the insulation. It's about 1 inch thick all the way around. And we're going to take a look at it, see how it is. I've never set one of these up before, so it's going to be a new experience for me. I don't think it's going to be too difficult. I think it's going to be a great option for somebody who wants to start blacksmithing and doesn't want to or can't use charcoal or coal for whatever reason, because it is a very affordable price point and gives you a little room to grow being 2 burners, and we'll get to that in a second. But in the box, you're going to get your burners, and these just kind of slide in the top here. And they have some set screws that will lock this in. I'm not going to do that yet because we need to do some things inside here where I may need to turn this over. Then you get your valve assembly, and this has 2 valves on it, and then you can shut off each one. So this is what I was talking about. You have 2 burners, but you don't have to use both burners. You can shut one off and only use one to conserve your propane usage. And this just simply slides in the top here. And there are some set screws up here that just lock this down. And you're good to go there. You also get your regulator assembly. This will screw onto this valve and then go to your tank. And then it's got the regulator built in. You're also going to get some refractory cement. And this coats the inside where this insulation wool is. Gives you a solid surface to work on and kind of makes things a little more durable. And then they give you a brush to use that with. One thing that I went ahead and purchased on my own that this kit does not come with is this Rigidizer Solution. I've seen reports where you don't need it. Others say you do need it. I'm going to go ahead and do it just to be on the safe side. It wasn't that expensive. I'll put a link in the description below. But what this does is it kind of locks this wool insulation in place. The fibers from this stuff is not really great to breathe in, but it's also going to stiffen all this up and give this refractory cement a nice solid base to sit on. This is a little soft as insulation tends to be, so by using this Rigidizer, you're going to lock everything in place and make it a little more firm and give your cement a nice solid base to sit on without it collapsing or anything like that. So that being said, you're probably going to see me have some wardrobe changes through this video because this is going to take a couple days to get everything done. The main reason being is once you do the Rigidizer, you really got to let it sit for 24 hours or more, make sure it's completely dry. Then you go ahead and do your refractory cement, and you got to give that a little bit of time to dry as well. So it's not a long process in the sense that it takes a lot of time. It's a long process because you've got some wait time in between steps. So let's go ahead and get this Rigidizer sprayed on. This goes 1-to-1 with water in a spray bottle, and you just make sure you got everything nice and well coated. Alright, so now that the Rigidizer has dried and hardened, I'm going to get this refractory cement in there. It says mix it 10-3 by weight cement to water. I'm going to mix it just so that it's a thick paste. It says it wants it to be a thick paste on the bag, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to start in the center, work my way towards the ends. Once it's fully coated, I'm going to go ahead and throw it outside in the sun for a while, help it dry up, and get rid of some of the moisture. The refractory cement's all done. That was by far the most labor intensive and tedious part of this. Also a very necessary step. I did hold back some of that refractory cement in case there are any cracks I need to fix, but hopefully we should be pretty good. I'm gonna go set this out in the sun and we'll come back when this is dry. It says 12 hours. I'm probably gonna let it go at least overnight. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but I'm going to be making an announcement about a giveaway in the future.
So I want to give you a heads up and a head start on how to be eligible for the prizes. You check the description below. There's a link to the Garage Hobbyist Discord server. And over there, we talk about a lot of the things we cover on the channel here. Tool reviews, tool deals, projects, welding, and all of that small workshop and garage type stuff that we all love to do. So go check that out, and that's where the giveaway is going to be held. So you're going to have to be a Discord member in order to be eligible for the giveaway. That announcement's coming soon. I'm really excited. The company I'm working with was very, very generous on what they have given me to give away. So check that out. Now we'll get back to the video.
We're back. It's been a couple days. The refractory cement has hardened. I may need to put a little more on. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to try it out like this and see what happens. I do have some left over. I can go put another thin coat on if I need to. But so far, I don't have any real cracks or anything going on, which is a very good sign. So the nice part about this particular forge is you don't need a bunch of tools to put everything else together. These are going to sit in here, and a couple bolts go in here just to kind of keep tension on them, and then everything else is thumb screws. The only place you need a wrench on the burner assembly is just to connect the hose. So should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and get that done now, and we'll come back and test it out. So as you saw, this forge worked just like it should. It takes a few minutes to get up to that forging temperature inside the forge itself, but once you're there and everything's heated up, the metal comes up to temperature very, very quickly, especially small diameter stuff. I can see myself using this quite a bit more, and for what I do, this is probably a better option than a charcoal forge or what I want to do. It's going to be a little easier to get lengths of things heated up or heat up the middle portion of a piece of stock versus the charcoal forge. You've also got to kind of pile that charcoal forge pretty high to get your fire up hot enough to heat something in the middle, which ends up resulting in a waste of charcoal if you only need to do a few heats. So that's where I can see this really coming in handy. As far as fuel costs go, I think in my situation, the propane and the charcoal is going to come out to about the same price. I do go through quite a bit of charcoal in that charcoal forge, so I don't think the cost difference is going to be very significant between the two as far as fuel types go. Another great thing about this would be if you plan on having a portable setup to do demos and stuff, this would be very, very easy to move around. It's not too heavy, got a handle built on the top. Everything comes apart relatively easily with just some thumb screws or very minimal tools to put it back together. So definitely a very nice little forge for the price. So check this out. I'll put a link in the description below. There's one or two changes I'm going to make. Not really changes, but additions to this I'm going to do. Is I'm going to make some sort of cover for the back here just to retain some heat and get things up to temperature faster and cut down on the amount of fuel burned. The second thing is going to be putting some kind of rack in front of this to hold material in the opening of this forge if it's a little long, because trying to hold your hand there on some shorter stuff is going to be a little dicey. But that's no fault of the forge itself. That's just something I want for convenience. And so the next time you see this, I'll probably have some type of stand built outside for it where I can just set it on top of and get it fired up pretty quickly. I think I'm going to do that out of cinder blocks. So no real heat comes out the bottom of this. It stays pretty cool underneath. So I'm not too worried about it, but the cinder block would prevent anything from burning